Head Start offers nutrition, health, early childhood education, and support for children living in poverty. That includes children without legal status or whose parents are undocumented, enough to cost taxpayers $374 million each year, according to the Department of Health and Human Services. HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says the new proof of citizenship requirement is part of President Trump's effort to end illegal immigration. But Head Start advocates say children living in poverty should not be used as political pawns. On Monday, Arizona and 20 other states sued to block the new rule.
We know that children that participate in Head Start programs have higher academic outcomes, they have better relationships as adults with their peers, and we know that they have better health outcomes. And for families, it's this great opportunity to begin to break these cycles of generational poverty.
Head Start funding is related to the number of children served at each location. A significant drop in enrollment will mean less funding.
There is a significant reduction in technical support that grantees receive, and now with the added interpretation of these statutes, it also creates additional administrative burdens for Head Start programs to meet its contractual obligation.
The Trump administration hasn't issued guidelines yet on how Head Start programs should enforce the citizens-only rule. HHS estimates that checking documents will cost an extra $21 million a year nationwide, but the savings is far greater. Child advocates warn that needy American-born children will be excluded because their parents aren't here legally and are too afraid of deportation to enroll them. In Washington, Maria Loiseau, Cronkite News.
The White House and the president himself have been in touch with lawmakers all weekend long to get this bill passed.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt speaking today about President Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill. The president is pressuring his party to send the spending package to him to sign by the 4th of July. Cronkite News reporter Maria Loiseau is with us from Washington. Maria, give us a rundown. What happened this weekend?
This is President Trump's domestic policy mega bill, nearly 1,000 pages. Among the big things that this bill would do would be to increase the debt ceiling to $5 trillion and extend the 2017 tax cuts. Senate Republicans rewrote key parts of this bill, and then the parliamentarian threw them a curveball by stripping major cuts to Medicaid. That was good news for rural hospitals in Arizona, but for Republicans, it left them scrambling to find other spending cuts. Democrats are very unhappy about the proposed cuts to food stamps, Medicaid, taxes on billionaires, and spending for clean energy. They forced the clerks to read the entire bill, which took nearly 16 hours.
We are debating a budget that gives another round of tax cuts to billionaires and giant corporations on the backs of everyday Americans.
What provisions should people in Arizona keep an eye on?
There are two major provisions that Arizonans should keep their eye on. The first being the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act and the Public Land Sale Proposal. RECA is a program that has been around for decades. It compensates uranium workers and people who lived downwind of nuclear bomb tests, and it expired last year. The bill would bring the program back to life. One thing that didn't make it was Utah Senator Mike Lee's provision allowing the sale of public lands, including landmarks like Sabino Canyon in Tucson.
What else are you watching out for?
The Senate began marathon voting earlier today on amendments. We could see a final vote later tonight, and the House plans to come back to D.C. on Wednesday to finalize the bill. A few amendments we're keeping our eye on is one that would reduce Medicaid spending by $313 billion on top of the already $930 billion. Something else that we're looking at is senators will debate whether or not to let the 2017 tax breaks continue. Finally, a $50 billion aid for rural hospitals, doubling the already $25 billion expected in the bill.
Thank you, Maria Loiseau from Cronkite News in Washington.
Elon Musk has called President Trump's big, beautiful bill an abomination. There's pushback from Senate Republicans that the sprawling measure, okayed by the House, will drive up deficits. Cronkite News reporter Maria Loiseau tells us the $21 billion solar energy industry could be impacted.
As it stands, the bill will remove more than a dozen clean energy tax credits, some in place since 2005, some put in more recently as part of President Joe Biden's clean energy agenda. According to President Trump, the removal of the credits will save taxpayers $500 billion, though the Congressional Budget Office says that if the mega bill is approved, it will increase national debt by $2.4 trillion. One of the incentives on the chopping block, a 30% credit for homeowners who install solar panels. That could have a big impact in Arizona, where the summers drive up air conditioning bills and sunshine provides a growing share of power.
We sent out an email to our prospects and let them know that, this is under consideration and things could change. We did notice a little bit of movement from that, but it hasn't really been an avalanche yet.
On average, residential solar panel installation in Arizona costs $19,000. Without the credit, that number jumps to more than $27,000. The last time tax credits for installing solar panels were threatened was 2015. Homeowners rushed to get their upgrades. Congress saved the incentive, but if it dies this time, businesses expect a significant slowdown.
A small business person in Tucson who sells solar, and he has said that he expects to be very busy to the end of the year, and then he expects it to fall off of a cliff as far as his business goes.
When Biden's IRA was passed, introducing many of these energy credits, both Mark Kelly and Ruben Gallego voted yes in 2022. The senators have shared their dislike for the bill. However, neither have commented on their stance with the energy credits. In Washington, Maria Loiseau, Cronkite News.